Hundreds of new jobs and significant investment is coming to the Charlotte region after 3 separate economic development announcements in 3 counties on both sides of the border in less than 1 week. Late last week, local and state officials announced that Ames Copper Group, a joint venture of Prime Materials Recovery, Inc., and the Comnex Group will create 46 jobs in Cleveland County. Now, the company initially invested at least $26.3 million with the expansion of its copper manufacturing facility that's located in Shelby. However, company officials are projecting that their total long-term investment could potentially exceed more than $50 million in infrastructure, equipment, and working capital over the course of the project. And that would be to help build a new copper smelter plant, which would also recycle and help to purify copper materials. The next announcement was Monday evening. Lancaster County officials cleared the way for McClancy Seasoning, that's a leading food product innovation and manufacturing company, to expand its local operations. The investment of over $9.4 million is projected to create 108 new jobs, more than doubling the company's employment. And finally, beverage co-packing company Prime Beverage is expanding its Kannapolis operations, creating 231 new jobs with a $68 million investment. Well, we're going to talk with our Vice President of Economic Recruitment, Marvin Price, who has 2 of the key officials from 2 of those counties to talk about this great, exciting news. Marvin?
Thank you so much, Natalie. We have with us Robby Carney from Cabarrus County EDC and Jamie Gilbert from Lancaster Economic Development Group. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you, Marvin.
Thanks,
All right,
Marvin. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks for having us.
Well, Jamie, I want to start with you first. Can you tell us a little bit what went into making this expansion possible?
I guess the question is what did not go into it, because there was so much really involved in this in terms of coordination and team effort between the company, the Economic Development Department, and County Council. This is a long time in the making. I mean, McClancy has been in Lancaster County since 1983, and they've grown a couple times since they've been here. This project really started almost 4 years ago with their interest in wanting to undertake the expansion. They have 2 facilities here, both in Indian. Over that time, there's been some zoning and some community issues that we had to work through with the company and the community, and we got all of those resolved, which then allowed us to move forward with really talking about what we could do to make this happen from an incentive standpoint for the company. We started that in earnest really back in December of 19, and what we could do to help them. They've been here 37 years, and it's unusual for a company of this size and magnitude not to have received incentives from the county, because we're very aggressive with our incentives. And if you go down the list of manufacturers here, you'll see almost every one of our sizable companies has had an incentive agreement with us at some point. It's what we believe in, it's what we do. So this is the first incentive package that they've ever received from Lancaster County. And so this incentive applies to both their existing investment that they have here, which is the building, the land, and the equipment, plus the new investment, which is the $9.4 million and the 108 jobs. And so this was a pretty competitive project for us. They were looking at several locations in which they may want to do the project. But at the end of the day, they wanted to be in Lancaster County because we do have a fantastic business climate. The workforce is from our community. They have about 65% of the employees live in Lancaster County. So that was important to us. And so we got very aggressive with the incentives to make sure that they knew that what they've done over the time is appreciated by this community. It means a lot to us, and the new investment as well. So we think by putting this package together, we have solidified McClancy in Lancaster County for another 37, 40 years. And we're very excited to see that. They've been a great company, good corporate citizen, and we're proud that they call McClancy home.
Wow. So Robby, 231 jobs. I mean, Cabarrus County is on a hot streak right now. So what does this mean to the local economy?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Marvin. So a project like this is significant and sometimes kind of funny. commencements back to back to back, it gets lost the impact and magnitude that each one of these projects has on a community. So we're talking about 231 full-time jobs that never existed in our community before, and they're paying average salaries in excess of $60,000+ for a manufacturing job. It offers some real opportunity to individuals that are already in market and want or have upskilled themselves, that are looking for advanced wages or increasing their wages, as well as for individuals coming out of college, coming out of the university system, or even the high school system, trade schools. It really has a dramatic impact on the entire community as far as providing those jobs. But then you have an individual now that's increased their annual revenue, their lifestyle demands change, the things that they provide for their families, their loved ones change. So it really has a pretty dramatic multiplier effect that comes throughout the community. So that's why we do this. It's not just the projects or the jobs that we land, it's how those jobs impact an entire community. So we're excited to see what 231 new full-time jobs are going to do for the city of Kannapolis.
Wow. Okay. Well, something that I've always wondered, and I've always thought to myself, people always want to know about the new deal, the excitement of recruiting a new company outside of the region. Jamie, if you don't mind, could you tell me why existing industries are so important? And Robby, I'd like to get your thoughts on that as well.
I mean, it's always easier to work with your existing industry to keep them happy and to work with them than it is to recruit new. As long as you have a really good relationship with the company and the business climate, it's certainly easier to retain them than to go out seeking new ones to come in. When an existing company is here, the contributions are so significant to the community, right? So not only folks, and they pay property taxes and other expenditures that they make in the community, but if they're a good corporate citizen, they're involved in your community in different ways. So, for example, McClancy Seasonings, they hosted the annual chili festival we have, which drew chili competitors from around the country. That was back in, I think, September of this year. And they also have the Indianland Fall Festival that they're very involved in. So you have to take care of your existing businesses and show them the support and the love if you're going to be successful in recruiting new ones. When we go after and we recruit new companies, the story we always tell to a new company is how we, and when we're providing incentives that are greater for an existing company than a new company, we make sure the new companies know that, because it means once they're here, we're not going to turn your back on you. If you're going to do an expansion down the road, you're going to have our support, and it's going to be at a greater level than what we just did. And out of the gate, we're very aggressive with the new companies. So I think it really helps solidify the effort to recruit new companies when we're doing so much to support the existing industry that's here.
Well, thanks for speaking. Robby, can you give me your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Jamie, that was very, very well stated by him. First off, and just in additional context, a lot of times when we're in an active recruitment mode or we're working with a company, really our best sale is our existing industry. A lot of times they're wanting to know about the experience that existing industries have had in the community. Have they grown? Have they expanded? Have they continued to invest? How active have they been? And whether it be local charities, your Chamber of Commerce, or other organizations, how invested are they in the community? The only way that they find that out is actually from your existing industry. So a lot of times when it's a new company that's coming into the market, the first thing that we're doing is we're setting them up with employer interviews. We're actually having them sit down with HR representatives, plant managers, and basically saying, listen, ask all the ugly questions that you think we would tell you something that's untrue. These are the people you need to ask. Talk to them about what their experience is. And if it's a good, if we're treating them right, if we're taking care of our existing industry, then the answer should come out to the positive. They should really be very excited to have not only their experience, but also another company coming into the community to support them.
Let me add something to what Robby just said too, and that is, when we talk about a tight labor market, and obviously with everything that's happened the last couple months, unemployment rates gotten, at record highs, right? But go back to, March, and when unemployment was very low. When you see companies that are here in our communities and they've expanded 2, 3, 4 times, right, since they've been here over the last 20 years, that shows they can find the labor needed. Yes, it's tight, but it really is something to show it. New companies, yeah, they can find the labor. If they couldn't find it, they wouldn't be expanding at the rate that they are. So it's also important to validate that the labor market's here to support both existing and new companies.
No, I absolutely agree. I think it really stands out when you're taking care of the companies already here. I think it gives a great story to tell. Because again, if we're not taking care of those companies, when we do have a new company to come into town to see the market, they're going to tell that story. And I think that's one of the reasons why we continue to grow. But Jamie, you touched on something with all the things happening right now, which is COVID-19. My question to you guys, how has it impacted your community directly? What are some of the things that you guys have done to try to offset that?
Well, I think for us, I mean, we have a very balanced economy in Lancaster County. So you see a huge growth that we've had the last 10 years in corporate headquarters facilities that really complements the bread and butter of manufacturing that has been here for, 100 plus years, right? So what we noticed is with COVID-19, our corporate headquarters and corporate office businesses really were the ones that were able to adapt fairly well, right? They could go and they could do remote work and they could send their folks home to work from their homes. And that seemed to go well. Now the companies are getting back and they're starting to bring people back to the offices. They never shut down. None of those businesses did. I think the back Continental didn't shut down for a week, but that was for everything. That was for manufacturing, corporate offices, basically worldwide. So they were the only corporate office that we had that shut down for a short amount of time. All of our manufacturers, for the most part, remained open with maybe some scaled back shifts. It's more challenging for manufacturers because in a manufacturing environment, you have to be under one roof. You have to be there making product. So for them, it was more challenging. But we didn't lose a whole lot in terms of companies being shut down. So that was very, very positive. We saw some of our companies pivot, the Fab Fours and others getting into making PPE and equipment that was in need. Fab Fours going and making some devices for hospitals. We saw companies starting to make sanitizer that they weren't making previously. So it was all good to see those companies be able to find some other niches to get into. One thing that we did, and you all are familiar with this, was the passage of the life-saving medical products reshoring initiative, which is designed to prevent the disruptions we saw in that supply chain by encouraging companies that are producing those life-saving medical products, whether they be pharmaceuticals or gowns and masks and ventilators and things of that nature. If they're making those outside the U.S., to bring those to Lancaster County, and if they do that, they're going to receive some significant incentives, in fact, unprecedented incentives from us if they decide that Lancaster County is the location they want to be in. So we're trying to do things to help address COVID-19 in regards to the supply chain. That's probably the biggest initiative we have. We can't have what happened before where everybody's scrambling around trying to find product. That product needs to be here.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Robby, can you give me your thought?
Sure. Yeah. So, Lancaster County, Cabarrus is pretty diversified as a community. We're very, very fortunate to have a lot of different industries that serve us, and that's something that serves our community, a place of strength in times like these. But in all honesty, we've had companies that have had some employees furloughed. They pulled back. We've had a lot of our manufacturers have found a new pathway forward. Some of them have diversified into PPE production. We've got, countless stories of companies that had the skill and capacity to actually start providing to support the needs of right now. At the same time, we've had areas of our local economy that have been severely impacted as it pertains to, entertainment destination, hotels, tourism, service-based retail. Those are all areas that have seen dramatic hits, and Cabarrus County is known to be a pretty large and vibrant tourist destination. That's certainly an area of our local economy that's been affected by this. So we've been trying to keep our corporation, and this has been months in the making. We just announced on Friday last week that we are bringing what will be the Cabarrus County Incubation and Innovation Center, which basically is a innovation incubator for individuals that are looking to do or build scalable type businesses in Cabarrus County. We've partnered with Peter March of Flywheel. Flywheel has a location in both Winston-Salem as well as Davidson, where it's going to be taking space in downtown Concord. Why this is significant is because when you have a lot of talent that's potentially being displaced, you have a lot of ideas, a lot of innovation that is looking for ways to be able to grow, build, and expand. A lot of new business startups happen under recessionary pressures. You have a lot of individuals that were working in one capacity, they get displaced, and now their idea, their concept, they're finally willing to take that time to take that jump and create and or build a business. That's what this whole facility is for those individuals. Typically, the most startups, the most businesses get built during a recession because of all that talent loss or talent displacement. We're actually going to be opening up an innovation center. We're going to be one of the anchoring tenants of that, because our corporation, we want to be surrounded by innovators, by creators, by builders, by tech talent. We want our office, our team to be completely surrounded by those types of individuals. And we want there to be one singular space where we can pool all of this, these resources together to help champion these types of new businesses coming out of our community. We see that as one of those things. We're starting at the foundation of our own local community and providing innovators and creators and habitual entrepreneurs, as we call them, the ground space and the means that they can actually get these types of projects off the ground. And so that's something we're really, really excited about. We've been working on it for months, and it just so happens that a pandemic hit, and really what was something that was already top of mind for us and very important has become absolutely necessary now. So that's actually planned and scheduled to open at the end of this year, January of 2021. We plan to have that facility opened, and we're hoping to be their main tenants.
Honestly, that's pretty amazing. Both in Cabarrus County and Lancaster County. Something that I've always thought about with this happening with the pandemic, people need to shift, they need to pivot. But my question is, right now, are we seeing with the supply chain, with everything trying to reshore, is there greater opportunities for expansions in our local region? Like, Robby, do you mind giving me your thoughts on that?
Sure. Yeah. So I agree. I think that we are going to see reshoring is going to be a very, very important topic of discussion moving forward. Right now, I still think that a lot of businesses are trying to understand their current landscape that they have. What we've seen is a lot of our pipeline or activity is really kind of coming in. We're still answering RFIs as we have been in the past, but where they're holding is at the time a company has shortlisted our community against others, and they really need to get boots on the ground to figure out if this is the right place, if this is the right community, does it have all the things we need to be successful. That's where we're seeing that things are hitting the pause button right now. Once everybody's able to travel as we have in the past, we're answering these things by virtual visits. We think that things are really going to pick up quickly. And then you talk about reshoring. You have a lot of businesses that are going to start to plan to shore up their supply chain, make sure it's closer to home. We think that the Charlotte region sits in a phenomenal position. We just haven't seen, we know that businesses have that intention as of right now. What we've not started seeing is really that beginning of the pipeline phase where these projects actually start saying, yes, we said we're going to reshore. Now let's begin that process. That has, at least I can speak for Cabarrus County, I have not really begun to see that process, although we know that is going to be what is on the road for our community and hopefully the Charlotte region moving forward.
Jamie, can you tell me how is this going to impact Lancaster County? Do you feel like there are going to be expansion opportunities with the supply chain and reshoring efforts that companies are looking to do right now?
When we first announced this, let's say medical products reshoring initiative, back in April when it passed, it took a little while to get out of the gate to start seeing the calls and getting from site consultants and others in the media. We're starting to get that. So the publicity is getting out there about this initiative. But I think when we start to see more of folks and businesses seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, that things are getting back to normal in terms of the economy. I think once those projects start to happen again, that's when you're going to see this reshoring effort pick up significantly for projects, not just life-saving medical, but other companies that are manufacturing offshore. I think that it's only a matter of time, and I'd say probably, we're also in an election year. Election years create uncertainty. So there's a lot of things coming together at one time that create that kind of cloud. But once those things get lifted, I think you're going to see the pickup in a very rapid way, that reshoring effort, because this has taught businesses a lot of lessons, and that is you've got to have these products manufactured closer to home, because the disruption is tremendous if you don't. So what we're working on, besides with our existing companies, there are some opportunities with them, the product development, as it had to slow down, right? That's a great time to invest in your industrial parks. A good time to work on getting the building product out there, spec building. We had an interview yesterday with two developers about a spec building here for 100,000 square feet, and we're working to put that together. That would help accommodate some of these companies that may be looking to come back, whether they're in the life-saving medical products sector or if they are just manufacturing in general. So I think product development and looking for the opportunities with the existing industry is important. We've seen a lot of our existing businesses making those pivots into other areas and being able to support them when those opportunities are there. So yeah, I think there's some tremendous opportunities coming.
Okay, well, I see that our time is about to run out, and you get some economic developers together, we can talk for hours. So where right now are we going to have opportunity for a job fair for these new expansion opportunities? And if so, could you guys give us where we could find those?
Sure. So at least for the companies,
I'll jump off. My bad. Hey, this is Robby Carney. Yeah, so yeah, as far as Prime Beverage Group, we're working closely with them to determine the best time that we can start doing that. Once you're talking about job fairs, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. But at some point, that does mean bringing a lot of people together at times. So we're working with them actively to figure out what is the best way to hold and host a job fair. And our Rowan Cabarrus Community College partners are certainly helping us. Workforce development boards, we're all kind of talking about when that is. We don't exactly have that date as of right now, but that certainly will be made available as soon on our website, as well as other job boards and platforms, as soon as we have all those details pinned down.
Yeah, in Lancaster County, we've had to date this year, again, it's an odd year, right, for everybody. So everything is down across the board. But we've had 3 project announcements in 2020. If you look at across the state of South Carolina, that ranks second in the state in terms of project announcements. We're second in new jobs announced, and we're second in terms of new investment announced. We got to say, with all of our number 2s, we think we're number 1. But that said, what we're seeing is that a lot of these projects will happen in terms of the facilities being ready sometime probably early next year. So we're a little bit a ways from the job fairs. I would say those job fairs are probably going to start in the fall, probably in October, November. Hopefully by then maybe if we don't have a second wave, right, from COVID-19, we can get back to having the regular job fairs that we're used to. But on all those projects, Ready SC is going to be involved in helping to set up those job fairs and do that on behalf of the companies. So we work with the state on those job fairs. If things are going well and there's a whole return and the economy's booming, then we see probably a number of companies that would want us to host a job fair like we've done in the past on a county-wide level.
Well, thank you for that. And I just want to say this is a great opportunity in the region. It's always a wonderful thing when we can have multiple announcements in a week. So thank you guys for your time. Robby and Jamie, greatly appreciate it. And thank you.
Thank you, Marvin.